KKHT wants you to meet three of the classiest guys in real estate.
I am Chris Kelso, the maestro of mortgage.
I am Rob Cook, the godfather of real estate.
And I'm Joe Orsack, the king of credit swing. And together, we're the Real Estate Rat Pack. Much like us, real estate right now is smoking hot. So whether it's buying, selling, or owning, you need to check out the Real Estate Rat Pack.
They're here to take your calls and answer your questions live. Call now, 1-800-808-5548. And now, the Real Estate Rat Pack.
Greetings, everyone, and welcome to the show. This is the Real Estate Rat Pack. Do not touch that dial. We are celebrating a very special show. This will be the 100th show anniversary for the Real Estate Rat Pack. The crew will not be taking your calls, but Chris, Joe, and Rob will be bringing people to the microphone at this great party celebration. And we'll even be talking to some of their sponsors. I am the host tonight. I'm honored to be deputized by the Rat Pack. My name is Bill Nampick, hosting the show and having a good time at the party so far. So we're going to talk to a lot of great people and talk about the Rat Pack and have a good time. So we're glad you joined us, and here we go. And now our first guest to the microphone, Tim. We're glad you're here. Would you tell the listeners your name and your company, Tim?
I'm happy to. My name is Tim O'Neill. I'm a State Farm agent.
A State Farm. That's awesome. Tim, I know you're a sponsor of the Rat Pack. Would you give us an idea of some of the experiences you've had on the show with the Rat Pack?
Interestingly, I have no experience with the Rat Pack show. I've just signed on as a sponsor, and this is my first function with the group, so I'm a little bit overwhelmed.
Well, it is overwhelming, and what a way to start out. It's a great party, too,
It
right?
is great, and I was actually surprised to find that this was a fine clothing store. I was expecting a restaurant or a bar. I had no idea. That's how little I knew.
Well, let me tell you, as we're starting out, the Rat Pack, they're full of surprises, those
are.
guys. They like to have a good time, and they get the job done. So we're glad. Tell us a little bit also, Tim, about your insurance company for State Farm, what you do and how you serve your clients.
Well, I'll tell you the truth. I've been an agent for about 15 years with 8 years of claims experience before that. So I'm pretty much a really dyed-in-the-wool, boring insurance guy from front to back. And
insurance, unfortunately, risk is a big part of life, isn't it? So we need to have people like you covering us,
everything eventually crosses an insurance man's desk somewhere.
Absolutely.
Everything.
Now, Tim, would you tell the listeners how they can reach you?
Sure. I've got a very easy phone number to remember. It's 281-358-4444.
And, I'll speak on behalf of the Rat Pack that they're going to look forward to seeing you in the studio sometime to talk about your insurance. In the meantime, we're glad you joined us, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the party.
All right. Have your people call my people. We'll work something out.
Absolutely. Great idea. And now, listeners, Sandra Marconi. Sandra, thank you for being on the show.
Thank you for having me. It's exciting to be here.
It is. Those Rat Pack guys, they're fun to hang out with.
They're a little crazy, and they are a lot of fun to be with.
Sandra, would you tell the listeners about your company and what you do?
I am a realtor. I have a team with Keller Williams Memorial, and we buy and sell all over Houston.
I like that because the abbreviation is KWM when I write it down.
It
Easy
is.
to remember, right?
Very easy.
Tell the listeners, if you would, Sandra, what do you love most about real estate?
I love helping people. It's not about the money. It's not about the fame. It's about making sure people are in the homes that they want to be in. It's been a smooth transaction, and we've all had fun. And our clients become our friends.
And absolutely. I think whatever we do, whatever our profession in life is, if we're having fun, we're going to do a better job, right?
Absolutely. Always.
Now, as you're with Keller Williams Memorial, give the listeners also an idea of the area that you serve.
Well, our tagline is selling Houston for all it's worth. So we're
that.
all over.
Oh, absolutely.
We are in Richmond. We are in Cypress. We are in Inside the Loop, Woodlands, Conroe. If you've got a house to sell, we'll sell it. If you've got a home you need to buy, we'll drive to you.
Absolutely. Well, Sandra, would you tell the listeners how they can reach you if they want to reach out to you?
Absolutely. They can reach me at 281-935-8265. That's my cell. And my email is smarconi, that's SMARCONI, @kw.com.
And Sandra, it really needs to be said. I think Marconi, also a distant relative, must have had something to do with those early radio days. Huh?
I will tell you, I am married to a really good-looking Italian, but unfortunately, we're not part of that Marconi family.
Absolutely. Well, I'm sure the listeners are going to reach out to you. Sandra, thank you for being on the show. On behalf of the Rat Pack, go have a good time at the party, and we'll see you later.
Thank you for having me. All right. Bye-bye.
Awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, we now have one of the great sponsors for the Real Estate Rat Pack, Mr. Jared Benson. He's with Permapier Foundation Repair of Texas. Jared, thank you, and welcome to the show.
Oh, great. Hey, thanks for having me.
How about that? Sponsoring the Real Estate Rat Pack show, that's great. That's great work.
Yes.
And important work, too.
Yes, sir. We've been doing it a while, and we really like doing it.
And not only that, you know a little bit about foundations, too.
Yes, sir.
All over Texas, all over Houston?
DFW, Houston, and San Antonio.
Awesome. Would you tell the listeners a little bit more about your company?
We've been in business for 23 years under the same name.
Permapier.
Permapier Foundation.
Yeah, and that's
Repair,
that's easy to remember, too.
Yeah.
I love that.
It is a good one. Permanent piers. That's how you remember that one right there.
Because once you get now, and correct me if I'm wrong, once you get your foundation fixed by Permapier, let's say, it's going to stay and it's guaranteed for the
Yes,
life
sir.
of the
that
home?
lifetime warranty is a tricky thing, and the reason I tell you we've been in business for 23 years is because that's real important when it comes to the warranty. Because the lifetime warranty is only as good as long as that company is in business.
Absolutely. If they're not there, ain't no warranty,
Yeah,
right?
that's a big problem with our industry.
So that's very important, and with your company, having that longevity gives customers some trust, and that makes them feel good, and certainly you tell them about it, right?
That's right. When you sell a house with a Permapier foundation repair warranty, that buyer feels comfortable with that.
Absolutely. Let me ask you, on the foundation part of things, a technical question. Is there one thing that's usually wrong with the foundation? When you show up to a home to find out when someone has a problem, is usually one common thing that's a common occurrence with homes and their foundation, or is it so complex that each case is totally different?
Well, and yes and no, both of those things. It's really the moisture is the problem. That's the one problem that's always there, but it's affected by so many different things. Vegetation or watering the yard or drainage issues that where the moisture builds up or it runs off and there's no moisture, so the soil dries out. It's the clays in our soil and the moisture going back and forth.
So that's very interesting. So you're saying the common problem usually is moisture, but it's a different type of moisture situation.
It's the lack of controlling that moisture and maintaining a consistent level of moisture in the soil.
So when you come in and fix that foundation, you've got all the parameters and you make it right.
Yes, and so if that soil has sunk, what we can do is we'll lift that foundation up to as close to the original position as possible, or we can correct drainage issues if it has heaved the house.
Now, let's say someone has a concern, and what would that concern be? They see cracks on the home or something?
Yeah, seeing cracks in the house, you can look anywhere that there's a right angle. That's where a lot of that tension will be held when the house moves. So corners of rooms or doorways or especially garage doors, you might see some separation there.
Absolutely. So they can call you. Now, is there a charge to come out and let us know
No, sir.
what's wrong?
It's always a no-charge evaluation. We're only going to recommend work if it's absolutely needed, because there's just so much business out that we don't have to create it on houses that don't need it.
So the beautiful thing is if you come out and you give people the word that, hey, everything looks okay, boy, that's a real load off, right?
Oh yeah, and we can even give you a letter stating that there's no work is recommended on a house when that happens.
The flip side, if you see trouble, you can correct the problem and guarantee it.
That's right. There's a whole lot of mistakes in foundation care and maintenance, but the biggest one is ignoring early warning signs.
There you go. That usually is the big thing almost with any problem, right,
That's
Jared?
right.
Well, Jared, once again, tell the listeners how they can reach you if they want some more information.
They can always give us a call at 713-322-6714 or email us at realestate@permapier.com.
Very nice. Well, Jared, thanks for being on the show. You enjoying the party so far?
Hey, it's a lot of fun. I'm glad to be here.
Very good. Well, it's nice to meet you, and thanks for being on the show. Listeners, that was Jared Benson with Permapier Foundation Repair of Texas. And now, listeners, we're honored one of the Real Estate Rat Pack members, Mr. Joe Orsak.
Okay, first of all, Bill, we've had entirely too many males on already.
Absolutely. We need to mix it up.
The Rat Pack has a quota, a standard of having beautiful women on the show.
Absolutely.
And there's been entirely too many males on, so I had to jump in real quick and grab one of our beautiful female guests that we've had on the show. Shannon, come over here.
Very nice. Well,
Shannon, say hello.
Hello.
Well, Shannon, it's nice to meet you. Would you tell the listeners?
I'm going to make fun of Rob.
Okay, well, Joe's doing
easy to
important work. Shannon, would you tell the listeners your full name and your company, please?
Shannon Register with Register Real Estate Advisors.
Absolutely. I know you, and I'm glad to meet you. listened to your show. I've seen your show, and you're an inspiration to me.
Thank you. I
Just
appreciate
being a
that.
little radio guy here. Shannon registered. Well, first of all, Shannon, tell the listeners about your radio show.
Yeah, I do a little radio on the side. I do a show over, it's Houston Real Estate Radio, and we just want to teach consumers about how to do a real estate transaction and all the things that go into the industry. So there's a lot going on at all levels of the industry, not just your local around where you're buying a house, but at the state level, at the national level. There's so much to know. Every other industry feeds into the housing industry.
Absolutely. It's really part of our lives as Americans. It's woven. It's the very fabric of our lives, I heard one person say.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, in addition, you're a realtor,
I
right?
am, that's right. I like to sell a little real estate.
Absolutely. So if someone wants to reach out and say, hey, I want Shannon as my realtor, what are the coordinates?
The best way to reach me is probably to just send me an email, s@rrea.com.
And your last name's easy to remember, Register.
Register, that's
So
right.
that name can register with the listeners far and wide, wherever the show's heard, right?
I did the Rat Pack show last year, last Christmas. It was Christmas time. It was December, and it was a lot of fun. We had a great time.
Absolutely. Well, Shannon, it's nice to meet you. And tell them, once again, your phone number if they want to reach out to you.
281-288-3500.
Ladies and gentlemen, Shannon Register. Check her out on her radio show and talk to her about real estate. She'll be glad you did.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, Bill Nampick here, having a good time at the party as we take a quick break. This is the 100th show anniversary for the Real Estate Rat Pack. And boy, there's people here. A great party. And now, stepping up to the microphone is Vaughn Peterson. Vaughn, welcome to the show. We're glad you're here.
I am so happy to be here. A big shout out to the Real Estate Rat Pack. I have been on a couple of editions of the show, and I've been on a couple times when they didn't even know it was me because I was a call-in guest. I love the guys. I love the show, and it's so much fun to be here at Mucho Lucho.
Now, I have not heard it referred to as that, but I love that.
I like that. That's good, right?
Absolutely. And those Rat Pack guys, they're the greatest. I mean, they actually helped me get into radio, so I'm forever in debt.
Well, it's a kind of a thing where in radio you've got to be both informative and entertaining. And I think that's one of the things that they really, really do well is they bring really solid information and help to people. And they do it in such an entertaining way. And that's why people love the show. That's why people love to be on the show, love to listen to the show. The guys are great. It's the Real Estate Rat Pack, and we have a good time together.
Absolutely. Now, Vaughn, would you tell the listeners about your company? Would you tell the listeners about your company?
Oh, my company is Clean Air Services, and most of my business and referrals come from real estate professionals because I sterilize homes, all the surfaces and the air in a home, even the air ducts and throughout the home, to get rid of smoke, mold, and odor. So I do a lot of get rid of mold in a lot of homes. I do a lot of homes, of course. People are listing homes. Why, people coming to the home might be able to pick up on the fact that there was cigarette smoke or cats,
Pet odor, right.
Mold and things. So I come in and take care of that and help people complete the transaction, make sure they get that sale made, save the sale. That's what it's about.
Absolutely, and what you have is a very important service, and I would guess that there are some people that don't even realize that there's a service like that available.
I think you're probably right. I meet people every day that were not aware.
Joe said to come interrupt you and take the mic away from you because he said you are hoarding the mic.
I'm hoarding
Now,
the mic.
see that?
I will
Mic
give it up
hoarder.
for the next person. Bill, great to see you.
All
Great
right, Vaughn.
party.
One more thing, though. Tell the
Yeah.
listeners how they can reach you, Vaughn.
You can reach me, Vaughn Peterson at Clean Air Services, by just calling me, 832-276-6000, or you can go to the web. It's Clean Air Services, but Clean Air is spelled CLEANEAIR.com.
Absolutely,
Thanks, Bill.
and we all want clean air. Thank you, Vaughn.
Thank you, and a shout-out to the Real Estate Rat Pack.
The Rat Pack.
Vaughn,
Listeners, we're now with Gina Devers. Gina, welcome to the show and welcome to the party.
ooh, thank you.
Would you tell the listeners about your company and what you do?
Absolutely. The name of my company is Devers Delivers. And
I love that.
I know it. I love to deliver for my clients. What I do, a lot of agents have a specialty, and I actually specialize in everything.
Man, that is a tall order. You must be some kind of a superwoman.
I am, actually. I have clients that want just a regular residential home. I also have clients that are investors that are looking for multifamily or individual homes to flip or to lease out, long-term lease, seller finance. Just a little bit of everything, and doesn't matter who you are, I help them out.
And absolutely. One of the things, sometimes we think about the residential realtor where it's only for someone buying a home or relocating, but it's great that you also serve investors in a whole variety of scenarios, right?
Absolutely.
Would you tell the listeners how they can reach you?
Absolutely. You can come to my website at deversdelivers.com. That's DEVERS delivers.com. Or please give me a call at 832-372-8851.
You know, and Gina, that catchphrase is just great. I may not forget it, even though I'll talk to several guests tonight. That one is sticking with me.
Isn't it, though?
Absolutely. Now, before you leave, give us an idea of what your feel is for the rest of 2015 as we're enjoying the Rat Pack party tonight. What's the real estate forecast in your mind? Is it going to be tremendous the whole year through?
Oh, absolutely, and especially the way that I set my business up, because if residential goes down, obviously the multifamily and the rental business goes up.
Absolutely.
So when we have investors looking at all times, we've got a minimal amount of inventory. My investors are eagerly seeking more and more properties. It's always going up. There's sales all the way around.
Awesome. Well, Gina, thanks for being on the show. And boy, these guys know how to put on a party, don't they?
Absolutely. Congrats for the 100th show for these guys. Just love it.
100 shows. Can you imagine?
I can't.
Awesome. Well, thanks for being on the show, and we'll see you in a little bit.
Thank you, dear. Nice seeing you again. Bye-bye.
Listeners, we're now with Todd Riddle. Todd, welcome to the party and the show. You having a good time?
Oh, this is a great event. Great food, great people, great cause.
Absolutely. And, you know, the Rat Pack knows how to put on a party, don't they?
Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
Would you tell the listeners about your company and what you do?
Team Riddle Remax Fine Properties. We're a full-service real estate company. We cover all over Houston, Galveston.
Wow, that's a big area.
It's a big area.
Now, where are you based out of there, Todd?
We're based out of Missouri City, Texas, Sienna Plantation.
Absolutely. Now, so far this year, Todd, how are you finding the real estate market right now?
It's been great. Still running strong. Interest rates are low, which is keeping the buyers calling, phone ringing.
And there's so many great things, reasons to buy property right now. And I know at the beginning when we heard about the lower oil prices, people got a little concerned. But really, because of our diversity, I don't know. I guess we're finding that it's just going to continue to be good, huh?
Yeah, it's the oil and gas is about 25% of our market here in Houston. There's still a good, diverse city. And you know, people are always going to take advantage of the low interest rates and great housing market, especially here in Houston. So, yeah, it's going strong. We're excited about it.
And, you know, you are talking about your approach to the market is a team approach, right?
Yes, absolutely. Team approach. Full service.
And I've heard it said before, it takes teamwork to make the dream work by Mr. John Maxwell once. And that's true.
That's right.
Having that team, how does that benefit your clients?
Well, I just think for the clients, it gives them a lot of avenues to talk to people. If you can't get a hold of me, which 99% of the time you can, there's always somebody else you can go to on our team that's there to support you. So, you know, I just think it's a better way to support your clients across the board, especially selling a house. I think it's the better way to do that.
Because there's so many components to a real estate transaction, whether buying or selling, and especially maybe when selling, that homeowner has to really rely, and I don't think they know all the things they need to know to get the job done.
No, that's true, and that's where we step in because we've done, you know, literally thousands of transactions, and we know exactly how to navigate through this craziness from all the way from, you know, securing the contract all the way to taking them to closing through title and working with lenders. And, you know, actually, and my motto is, in a world of loonies, somebody's got to be sane, and that's your real estate agent, and that's Team Riddle.
That's Team Riddle. I like that. And when I think about the realtor, And many people may not realize all the things, and I'm not even going to mention them all, but the realtor has to be sometimes handle emotions and be a psychologist, a negotiator. Certainly you must know how all the complications of the paperwork, right? And that's not easy.
No, it's not. I mean, in sales, this is a very emotional purchase for most clients, for all clients actually, because it's their money. And when you're dealing with that aspect of it, they're very emotionally involved.
Well, and you mentioned that aspect about money. One of the things, whether buying or selling, but especially on the selling side, if someone has a home, do you find sometimes they want to have it listed higher than the market value that you might recommend as the real estate professional?
99% of the time.
So that's kind of a lot. I didn't know it was
99% of the time.
Wow. So there comes the psychologist part. How do you bring the person back? Because if it's priced too high, that's not going to be good.
Well, I basically centered it around appraisal value. You still have to, you can list your house for whatever you want to, but at the end of the day, the house has to appraise. And if it doesn't appraise, you're back to square one. So I really kind of put that little seed in their mind in terms of where they want to price the house. I mean, at the end of the day, I don't dictate the price for the seller, but I'm not in the industry. I'm not in the business to just inflate the prices just to inflate them, because at the end of the day, we're going to be back to square one and looking at each other, and the seller's not going to be very happy when he has to adjust his price because it didn't make appraisal.
That's great information. Todd, would you tell the listeners how they could reach Team Riddle again?
You can go to www.teamriddle.com, www.teamriddle.com, team that sells the dream.
That's great. And it takes teamwork to make the dream work. I'll add that to it. Todd, thanks for being on the show.
Absolutely. Go Rat Pack. You guys make a great show. We've really enjoyed it.
Very nice. Todd Riddle. And now I'm with Susie Smith with Legend Homes and Princeton Homes. Susie, thanks for being on the show.
Thanks for having me again.
Yeah, are you enjoying the party so far?
Oh, it's so much fun, just like the show is.
It really is, and that is emblematic of the Rat Pack, the party that they put on. Would you tell the listeners about your company and what you do?
Legend and Princeton Classic Homes has been in Houston since the early 90s, and it's a home builder developer, and we build wonderful, wonderful homes.
They are beautiful.
Thank you. We think so. And they're from the 100s all the way up to $1.5 million, depending on the different plans and different locations.
And also, when you mention the locations, give the listeners an idea of a visual of where the locations are that your homes, that the homes can be found.
And well, they can be found all over the city and outside the city. So we're just kind of everywhere. If you go to www.legendhomeshouston.com or www.princetonclassichome.com, you can see all of them.
I bet they can see a map and know exactly the location.
Exactly where they are.
Now,
beautiful locations.
Well, most people, when I think of a new home and the model home, Susie, I usually think of going there on the weekends, but people can go during the week, too, and see these homes, right?
Yes. And now we have daylight savings time coming up. And so the offices will be open
till... I'm not even clued into that, so
I believe it's a week from this weekend, isn't it?
I do not know.
And glad I could help out here.
Yeah, I know. It's sneaking up on me. Time is flying. As Chris says all the time flies when you're having fun.
Right.
Man, here it is again, right?
Right, where it stays nice and light. So the offices are open till 7 p.m. once that starts. And it's nice and light and bright, and you can see you're not out in the dark trying to look at houses. The model homes are beautiful. The salespeople are fabulous. There's always something special going on for the buyers, and they just need to come and get the Legend and Princeton Classic Home experience.
And I think, too, one of the beauties of I bet there's people that go and look at the model homes because, one, some people just like to see model homes and get inspired, but I bet every now and then they go look at that home and they say, I wasn't going to buy, but I think I better buy one of those homes.
That happens on a regular basis.
There's some psychology involved. Well, Susie, tell the listeners again, if you would, how they can reach you and see these great homes.
Like I said, you just go to www.legendhomeshouston.com for the 100s to the mid-200s, and from 200s to over $1 million, you go to princetonclassichome.com.
Very nice.
We can't wait to see you.
Susie Smith's going to be waiting for you, listeners. Thanks for being on the show. Let's enjoy the party.
Thank you.
Listeners, we're very honored. A very special guest. They're all special guests. Mr. Hank Moore is now at the microphone. Hank, thanks for being here.
Good to be here again. I was just on 3 weeks ago.
I know you were. I heard that show, Houston Legends, right?
Yeah, I was the only person on this show who ever had the whole hour.
I'll tell you what, that is a huge distinction.
Yeah.
They must have wanted to hear what you were going to say.
I guess they did.
Well, you had some great information. Give us a few bullet points in case someone missed that show. Give us a few things
Houston
about Houston
Legends just came out. By the way, the book does have its own website, which is www.houstonlegends.net. And it is an internationally published book, and it is a 200-year history of Houston, which I wrote. And I've written most of my books are business books. I've written several books, but this one was a labor of love. I was just trying to give back. I moved to Houston when I was 25 years old, and a lot of the legends took me under their wing and were very nice. I was just a young kid who moved here from Austin, and Mrs. Wortham and George Mitchell and Mrs. Hobby and Ben Love and George R. Brown and others just, were very nice to me. And then next thing I knew, I was on all their charity committees and serving on their boards. And so 40 years went by, and I'd always kept in the back of my mind I needed to pay tribute to all those people because we don't want their contributions to be forgotten.
Well, and that I think comes under the category of one thing leads to another. It's fascinating to hear how your life has unfolded with such interesting and great things.
Well, I have advised corporations all over the world. I've reorganized Disney, Marriott, Hewlett-Packard, Texaco, AT&T.
And that was just on Monday.
Yeah, and a lot of small companies, too. I reorganized the United Way after the air money scandal. But, most good businesses, and that's been my experience about the real estate industry, is a collection of small businesses that are honorable and they have integrity and they work together. That's what I go around preaching to the corporations is collaborations, partnering, and joint venturing. And it's happened more in the real estate industry than probably any other industry. I think other business could learn from the real estate industry.
I would agree with you, too. And those are very important foundational things for any business. And sometimes they're forgotten.
Exactly. And, small business did a good job of withstanding the most recent recession. It was a terrible recession. A lot of us suffered during it, but small business is what brought us out of the recession. And by the way, that's the way it's always been in the 200-year history of Houston. I knew a lot of the legends. I knew half the people in my book. All the old-timers, I knew. I'm a Hog. All the old-timers except for Jesse Jones. He died before I was around. But I just thought it was important to give back. And I'll be doing speaking in the community during the coming year on legends, and many of the legends are going to come up here with me.
Well, how many in the book did you talk about, Hank?
Probably 3,000 people.
Oh, my goodness.
It was too many to develop an index, but we organized it along 20 chapters. Each major industry, the real estate chapter is chapter 2, and real estate construction and building is probably the largest chapter of the book.
What's a major part of Houston?
Energy. There's one on technology, medical. There's a banking and finance chapter. There's a retail chapter, which includes restaurants and nightclubs. There's an arts chapter. There's a sports chapter. You just go right down the list. And I'm going to be. It's nice to reconnect. Already, the book just came out, and it goes national and international. That doesn't happen until May, but people are reacting to it. History is something that relates to everybody, and I think the real estate and building communities have made more than their contribution to the growth of the greater Houston area. And we're talking about a 4-county radius.
And there's no doubt about that.
And there's no stopping it either.
Well, and I would say, if you'd agree with me, Hank, not just Houstonians want to know about this, but the world has their eyes on Houston and Texas. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, when I was approached by a publisher, they approached me about this. I did not query the publisher. I mean, I've worked with the largest publishers in the world. McGraw-Hill has international distributed, but for my business tree book. But I said to them, a book with the name Houston in the title, isn't that limiting? And they said, oh, no.
Absolutely.
And I said, well, I wouldn't put Houston in the same category as, New York, Rome, or Paris. They said, but right after that.
Well, I'll tell you, the other thing I was thinking about, you got to talk and meet so many people, and we can't mention them all, but you even met Elvis, right?
I did. When I started my career, I was a disc jockey in Austin, Texas, at KTBC Radio, later became KLBJ, and that was the first. It was like starting at the top. One Saturday afternoon, the guys turned me loose on the board, and of course, in today's modern technology, people don't know about 16-inch turntables with two tone arms, and the door flung open to the station one day, and this Army soldier walked in and said, hi, I thought I'd stop and do an interview. And I looked at his face, and I saw which Army soldier it was. It was Elvis.
About how old was he at that time?
He was, this was April of 1958. I was 10 years old at the time, and he was 22.
Well, very nice. Hank, would you tell the listeners how they can get that book? I know I want to get one.
Yeah,
how can we get it?
Just order through the website. It's got a fulfillment house. It's www.houstonlegends.net.
Very good. Thank you, Hank, for being on the show.
Pleasure.
And now, listeners, Lorna, the hottest sensation since 1964 from across the pond when the Beatles came here, we have Lorna Ramsey from Aberdeen, Scotland. Lorna, thanks and welcome to the show.
Hi, Bill. How are you doing?
Well, I'm honored to be deputized by the Rat Pack tonight to have this important privilege. Isn't it a great party?
It's a fabulous party. I'm so lucky to be here.
Well, it's very, very exciting. Oh, here's one of the...
Hey, guess what? I am here with one of my favorites, Lorna Ramsey. You know what? She is now a full-fledged U.S. citizen. Congratulations!
And congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes, you did it the right way.
Yes, at 4 weeks I've been an American citizen.
Well, I might also add, I introduced you to the Rat Pack over a year ago, and I was very proud to bring you on the show way back then, and awesome to see you tonight. Lorna, tell the listeners about you became a citizen. Give us a little bullet point on that. How excited you are to be a U.S. citizen after being here for how many years?
I've been here 12 years, Bill, and the citizenship was a process of having your visa, going to green card, holding it for 5 years, and then taking the citizenship test.
That's almost like a real estate transaction.
It absolutely was, yes. So I had to do 100 questions. You had to learn all the answers, and you had to get 6 out of 10 correct, and here we are.
That's unbelievable. And in the meantime, while you're going through that process, the listeners may or may not know, you were selling the heck out of real estate all along the way.
All along the way, yes. I've closed the most transactions in Keller Williams Metropolitan Office for the last 4 years.
Okay, the most transactions. Just give us a number. About how many is that?
Last year was 83 transactions.
Wow, that's almost one a day, one every 2 days. That's unbelievable. How do you do it?
All day and all night.
You don't sleep?
Don't sleep.
Well, now, I'll ask you this, and realtors listen to the show, no doubt, but other professionals do too. Give the listeners, if you would, just a tip about staying organized with such a massive job to handle all those transactions along the way. How do you stay organized? Give us a tip.
Bill, I'm really bad. I don't follow the rules of the book. I do it all myself, and it keeps it in my head, and that's how I get organized.
Perhaps a great and strong work ethic, as well as, I guess you know what to do when.
Yes, I really enjoy my job, and I gladly do it well.
Well, I'll tell you what, your accent is also very charming. That probably helped you along the way as well.
Of course, nobody forgets who I am.
Well, they don't forget, and they want to hear you talk. Well, Lorna, yes. See, when you tell them that their house is going to be priced too high in your accent, they're probably more prone to listen because they like to hear it. I don't know. Maybe.
Maybe.
Well, that's awesome. Lorna, also tell us about how do you feel the market's going to be in the rest of the year? I know you're doing so well there at Keller Williams Metropolitan. What else is going on as far as the outlook for the rest of the year, in your opinion?
I actually talked with Ted Jones the other day, and his view on the whole thing is we're doing really well. So oil prices might be a little bit down, but we are doing really well. In January, we closed the most houses in Houston ever. And the market is still up there. We're in multiple offer, and it's still very busy.
Well, absolutely, that's so awesome. Lorna, would you tell the listeners how they can reach you if they want to know about the UK or buy and work with you in a real estate transaction?
So reach me at Lorna Ramsey at kw.com or telephone 713-884-9678. I'm actually off to Aberdeen next week. We're doing the Houston-Aberdeen Gateway. So that's business from Aberdeen to Houston, Houston business to Aberdeen. I'm travelling with the British Consulate, the British School, Greens Point, and several others for a conference in Aberdeen.
That's kind of like one of those songs was a Paul McCartney, Hands Across the Water, huh?
Absolutely, we're going across the water.
Well, once again, congratulations on being a U.S. citizen. That's great, and thanks for being on the show.
Bill, thanks ever so much. It was great to see you.
Awesome.
And if I was part ownership of that card, trust me, I wouldn't be here today.
Well, that's a word from Mr. Stephen Hallmark. We're Berkshire Hathaway Anderson Properties. Stephen, thanks, and welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you for being at this show. This is a fabulous celebration, 100 years. Chris sitting here in front of me.
100 years or 100 shows?
Me with a beer, and so, I can't beat that. These guys are fabulous.
The man, Mr. Hallmark.
The most knowledgeable people in real estate that I know today.
See, when you write a thank you card to one of your clients, so that's a Hallmark card there, isn't it?
It's a Hallmark card, and sometimes I want to do little stencils on the back that says, sent by Hallmark. If you want to send the very best, send a Hallmark.
Well, in real estate, I think, in like a lot of professions, it doesn't hurt to be memorable, right? To separate yourself from the pack, and people can remember you by the name Stephen Hallmark.
That is, actually, I get a lot of my clients will say, you have the best name there possibly is to be in real estate, and it is with the Hallmark name.
Well, Stephen, would you tell the listeners what is it you love about real estate?
People. I could tell you a great story, but I'll tone the story down. As I was asked one time in my career, taking a continuing education class during the career, an instructor wanted us to write down one word that described us, our best attribute. And to be honest with you, I basically said my personality of liking to meet people, grow with people, understanding people, and I just feel I'm just good with the other aspects of real estate that I just like the difference of real estate. Couldn't see myself sitting at a desk job.
And it's interesting when you do, and I love people too. I also love that everyone's different. So we adjust to each one, and we enjoy. There are challenges, no doubt, but we also enjoy different things about people. It does make it interesting.
It makes a huge difference, and that's the beauty of real estate. I had a client just today tell me they were going to refer me to somebody, but they were going to be completely different than they were in personality. And I said, bring them on. I love it.
Well, Stephen, tell us a little bit about Berkshire Hathaway Home Services Anderson Properties.
I could tell you a lot about it. Let me just tell you, it is the best company I have worked for in real estate. This is the third company I've worked for in real estate. Truly what I like about the company is very relaxing atmosphere, very professional. There's nothing demeaning, negative about the company. We're growing as a company in Texas and in Oklahoma, which in my opinion, when I look at that with my owner here in Houston, I look at that as we're doing something right. And obviously, we've got the right formula.
And I like that. When you said you're growing, I am seeing more advertisements, and I am hearing more about your company as each day goes on, really.
Definitely. I can't say any more about we're growing, and I think like any company out there, whether it be from real estate to selling sodas, it starts with the management and it trickles its way down. And when the attitude at management is positive, the people who work for that company are positive, and that is top down what I love about this company.
And your location, you're also in the Heights, the center of the city, so you're in a great advantage to work all of the city.
I am right in the heart of Heights. I've been there for 13 years now. I'm in our relocation department. So what makes it nice is I'm able to work with clients in Humble. I'm where Katy, Pearland. I'm a 15, 20-minute drive from any one of those locations. And I just absolutely love the location and the convenience to any neighborhood in the greater city of Houston.
Give us a quick word about the relocation part of the market at this point in time.
At this point in time, I would say the relocation market is, I wouldn't want to say it's slowing down, but I think some of the major oil and gas companies are really thinking about scaling back of how many people they're going to be moving in and out of different locations throughout the United States. I don't think with the price of oil the way it is, I have a feeling we won't see quite as many relocation clients coming into the city of Houston or moving out of the city of Houston, at least in regards to the energy industry.
Steady as she goes, right?
Steady as you go.
Stephen,
Exactly.
tell the listeners how they can reach you, please.
The best way you can reach me is through my cell phone. It's always on me, 832-228-1659. Again, it's Stephen Hallmark, 832-228-1659.
And I would say Stephen Hallmark. Can't forget it. Thanks, Stephen.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Way to go, Rat Pack.
Way to
Keep
go,
it going
Rat
for
Pack.
another year.
There you go. Regular listeners to the Rat Pack know that the Rat Pack consists of Chris, Joe, and Rob. And here is Mr. Rob Cook himself. Rob.
Yes, and you know what? I want to reach out, Bill. First of all, thank you for agreeing to be the host this evening. It allowed us to go mix and mingle with our guests. And I want to do a big shout-out to Hector Villarreal with Lucho, who opened up his shop for us to come here and party with him.
A beautiful shop,
and
too.
we got Chris Kelso walking in here right now with the camera. So, and doing a selfie.
Well,
again,
he loves that. Well, I'll tell you, yes, it is but it is an honor to be a part of this and to host the 100th show. That's unbelievable. And as your co-host Chris Kelso says, time flies when you're having
time flies
fun.
when you're having fun, and not that we're going to be right back because we're right here.
That is absolutely true. And here it is, 100 shows. That's a lot. And whose idea was the Rat Pack anyway? How did that start?
The genesis of the Rat Pack was that Joe, Chris, and I were a guest on a show, and we had this great energy together, and we said, you know what, we should really do a show. And so about a year and a half goes by, and I finally said, look, guys, if we're going to do this, let's quit talking about it and do it. And so we did. We found a slot on KKHT 100.7, and
here we are. Yeah, 100.
2 years later, 100 shows, and we're good.
That's unbelievable. And it's also, the beauty is that your shows are fun, great to listen to, but they're packed with information. Sometimes I listen to them almost every Saturday and listen when they're on, but also I may go back and listen on the archives because there's something someone said that was so important. I want to know about it again.
Yeah. Well, you take the three of us, Chris, Joe, and I, we all represent years of experience in the business. We unanimously all love to have fun, but that doesn't mean we're not going to give you great information. Because we are. It's going to be fun. We're going to give you great information. And I think when you make it fun, I think people remember that. And they tune in for that. I teach him CE for your real estate license. And my remarks always, you made the class fun, but we learned something. And I think that's true. People will learn something when they're having fun.
There's no doubt about that. And also, with your experience, you have such an experience of being a builder, teacher, connected with HAR, and then Chris's experience and Joe. That's just a very powerful three pillars of power right there.
It's a great combination of there. But I do want to make a comment about what the show has been for me, and I hope it's been abundantly clear to everyone. It's never been about us. It's always about our guests. And we want to make sure it's about their experience, about them having a great experience on the show, and they become part of the family. And if that's why the people are here tonight, they become part of the Rat Pack family. And that's very important.
That's exactly right. And I've been to other parties of yours, and they were family then, too.
Yeah, and we believe that. If you ever, of course, I know you're a great fan of the show. We don't make it about us. You seldom hear us talking about our business or what we do, and we will on occasion, and we've actually had some shows built around us. But maybe one or two, when the guests come on, it's about them.
That's right. And Rob, tell the listeners, someone can go back to any of those 100 shows. They're all there, right?
They're all there. You can go to the I can't say it. The realestateratpack.com, or you look us up on Facebook. Look up Real Estate Rat Pack. All the shows are there, archived, ready to go, and we've got some great shows. I think some are better than others, some are funnier than others, but they all have great content.
There's even some serious moments on the show.
Yeah, there's even some serious moments.
You got it all.
Yeah, we're an eclectic crowd. What can I say?
Very nice. Well, Rob, it's an honor to be here. Thank you for the opportunity. I love being deputized and part of the Rat Pack every now and then.
Again, we thank you for stepping up and doing this for us. And again, thanks to Hector Villarreal with Lucho for opening up his shop to let us be here. And he's going to have a crew come in and clean up tomorrow, I can tell.
There's no doubt. This is a great place. Listeners, I'm with Teresa Kennedy. Teresa,
Yes.
welcome to the party and the show.
Thank you so much. I would not miss it. The boys threatened me that if I didn't come, that they would be very upset with me. So I brought all 3 of my boys because I could not find a babysitter tonight.
Yeah, I see them here trying to get the microphone. They're like you. They want to be on the show, right?
They definitely do.
Well, Teresa, the regular listeners know you always provide an inspirational quote, right?
Yes, I do.
That's a very important part of the show.
Yes, it is. At the end, Chris always gives my quote that I send to him.
Well, tell the listeners that there's one of your children.
That's my 3-year-old Max having a fit. He's wanting your cowboy hat.
I see that. There's no party complete without people of all ages. Well, tell the listeners, if you would, Teresa, about your company and what you do up there.
Well, I'm with RE/MAX, the Woodland Springs. It's the Kennedy team, and I'm a listing specialist, and I have a buyer specialist, Michelle Garza, and we have an assistant, TJ, 3 working women, and we love what we do. We specialize in residential real estate, and we help with a lot of relocation, people who are relocating into the area, people that are moving into something bigger, downsizing. So
you do it all there,
We
huh?
do it all, yes.
Well, now, in your market, what's it like at this point in time in 2015?
Well, you know what? I see great things happening in the market.
So it's very strong.
Yeah. Yeah, Tristan wants to say hi.
Oh, okay.
Hi.
And what was his name?
That's Tristan.
Tristan, good to see you.
Good to see you, too.
You having fun at the party?
Not really.
You're not? Well, you got to be on the radio, so you'll be able to hear this tomorrow.
What?
Do you know anything about real estate?
No.
You don't?
You do.
Oh, yeah.
What do you know about real estate, Tristan?
Sell people houses.
There you go. You know, and that could be a quote right there, Teresa, I think, for the next show, because some of those quotes, the best part is the simplicity, right?
Yes, it is. It's very simple.
Sell people houses.
Sell people
I
houses.
love that.
It's all about communication, too. And that's one thing that I think we pride ourselves on because, yeah.
You know, that yelling in the background was actually Joe. He's been trying to get on the radio.
Hey, he made himself sound like a child.
Joe was like throwing a fit. Exactly.
Well, let me ask you about those quotes that you provide. How do you fine-tune the one that's going to be on the show? Because I'm sure you look at several.
Well, you know, like, have you ever
Or I'm
gone
guessing
to,
you do.
Yes. Well, have you ever gone to church and it's the message that you needed that day? Or whenever I get my quotes, it's the quote I needed for the day? Well, it's the same thing with the show. Every time I give them a quote, it has to somehow relate. It always relates to what they've talked about in some way. So it's just the quote I get today or that day, and I give it to them. I get a lot of Joel Osteen's quotes.
Well, they are great quotes. I love listening to them. And Teresa, tell the listeners once again how they can reach you.
They can go to the KennedyTeam.net, www.KennedyTeam.net, or they can call me at 281-799-3927.
Very nice. Teresa Kennedy, it's so nice to meet you. I've heard you a million times.
Thank you.
And now we're with Chris Kelso. Chris.
How you doing, Bill?
Doing great. Like I told Rob, I'm so honored to be able to be here for the 100th show and to be deputized by the Rat Pack. That doesn't happen. This is first time, isn't it?
First time right there. You know, I'll tell you one of the things, Bill. We say this all the time. Time flies when you're having fun. and we are always having fun. And we appreciate you, by the way, coming out here doing this. You know, one of the things, Rob, that we've spoken about, Bill was one of our first guests, one of our first contributors to the Real Estate Rat Pack show. It's only fitting that he is now hosting our 100th show.
And look, he liked it so much he had to do his own show.
Yeah, I try to do too. Absolutely. And I'll tell you what, Chris, I thank you guys for that opportunity because it was great to be a sponsor, and that gave me the bug. But in the meantime, the Rat Pack, Rob talked a little bit about the genesis. Why don't you embellish a little bit just about the early days of the Rat Pack as you're getting your ears tickled by one of the party goers?
Yes, by Gina Devers from Devers Delivers.
Yeah.
I know, just fondling me. I mean, get this picture. It's priceless right here, let me tell you. But, you know, one of the things we want to always give a big shout-out is to all of our listeners and all of our great guests we've had on for these past 100 shows. We're just now starting. We still have another 100 shows to go.
That's 100 shows. Oh, my goodness. Well, listeners, too bad this is not TV, but 100 more to go. Wow. All right, I described this, but maybe I shouldn't.
I don't think you should describe this one.
No, I don't think so. But we're having fun here. It is a party. So at a party, we want to have a little fun, right, Gina?
Gina, have you said hello to everybody yet?
I have said hello to everybody.
Yes, and Gina, let me tell you, one of our longtime contributors, one of our great guests. You're a 2 or a 3-timer with us?
I'm a 4-timer.
She's a 4-timer.
4?
Absolutely.
Again, time flies when we're having fun.
Time flies when we're having fun. And, you know, the women are calling me to get out of here, so I'm going to let you continue to wrap it up.
All right. Well,
Kelso,
we are.
Put your clothes on.
Hey, I'm trying to.
Right.
Hold on a second.
All right. In the meantime, yes, that was Chris Kelso.
You know, I'm going to leave you with Joe, actually.
All right. Bring him on. And here he is, listeners. This is Bill Nampick, deputized to host the Real Estate Rat Pack 100th show. And now, Mr. Joe Orsak. Joe, what do you think about this great party?
You know what? It is really awesome. It's really kind of cool to have a lot of wonderful, wonderful friends, people who are movers and shakers in the industry that will take the time out to come out and celebrate a milestone with you. We're super, super happy to have this many people show up and celebrate with us. And I managed to get my wife out of the house.
Is that right?
First time ever. She never comes out. And we have kids, you know, so it's always hard to arrange the babysitters and all to get both of us out at the same time. It's almost a nightmare. You have to come say hi.
Yeah, she needs
you
to
are
come.
so coming to say hi.
Because we hear about her on. We hear about her.
I
on
know.
the show.
Nobody believes me that anybody would put up with me. Come here, say hi.
Well, we got a hello anyway out of her.
That was it.
Well, Joe, give us a word as we talk with Rob and Chris about the beginning of the Rat Pack. What are your thoughts as you began the Rat Pack and the early days till now?
Well, you know what, Rob. I mean,
you got a great team, the three of you.
You know what? There's genuinely kind of a cool chemistry that has just worked. And I had a radio show for several years, and Chris had a radio show, and we had done some stuff together. And we always kind of had joked together that we should do a show together. And one day, Rob and I were hanging out smoking cigars or something, and I brought that up, and he's like, "Well, we should do a show." And I just kind of was like, "Oh yeah, sure, we should do a show."
And
so,
here it
like,
is, yeah.
A couple days later, he called me and he's like, "Hey, well, you know, what's going on with the whole show thing? What are we doing about that?" I was like, "Oh, he's serious."
Yeah, well, so let's just do it, right?
Yeah, so I called the station and talked to the sales manager there, Susan, who's a great gal.
Yeah, we love Susan Simon.
Yes, Susan is a great gal, and like all of 2 weeks later, we were on air, and the rest is history, as they say.
Well,
so.
and I would say that as well as you've been having fun since and informing the public, not just realtors and those affiliated, but the public themselves to learn about real estate.
You know what?
In a fun
I
way.
have said my entire role on the show is to look for the joke. I really have
And
nothing
you do
intelligent
that. You
to
do
say.
that very well. I love that part of the show.
If ever something salient comes out of my mouth, it's a pure accident. I promise. So.
Well, you are a super part of the show because I enjoy the comedic parts, but also when you inject whatever. And I notice this as a listener, whatever you inject, if it's comedy it's done right. It's the timing. So I don't know if you've been a comedian before, but even when you have something factual or something to contribute in that way, I'm telling you, you're always right on the mark.
Well, I appreciate that a whole lot, Bill. Life is too short not to laugh, and I absolutely love that aspect of life. God has a great sense of humor, I think. Look at the platypus.
He does. There's no doubt about it.
So I want to laugh about life, but, I'm passionate about credit and helping people improve their credit. It's something I really, really believe in. And if you get me talking on that subject, I'll definitely get on a roll. But I'm also passionate about real estate and the impact that real estate has in our community. I believe that better families are raised in owning a home, and it's something that we try to bring to Houston to encourage people to buy, to be informed, to know how to engage it intelligently, and do that while we're having fun.
That's right, and you do a great job. The next 100 shows, there's at least another 100 ahead,
Another
right?
100 ahead of us, absolutely.
Very nice. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Joe Orsak, one of the Real Estate Rat Pack members. Thank you, Joe, and thank you again for the opportunity.
Thanks, Bill.
to
Thanks for
do
doing
what
this,
I'm
man.
doing.
We really appreciate it.
It is my pleasure. Listeners, I want to encourage you to, as the guest host tonight, Bill Nampick, you can hear this show, and also you can hear some other shows that I'm involved with at 1 o'clock. You're listening here at 9. I'm on a show called Real Estate Matters at 1 o'clock on this same station, and you can hear another show called Successful Living at 4. So check me out, and I'm honored to serve the Rat Pack tonight. Listeners, we are now honored to have Hector, who is the owner of the establishment that the party is taking place. Hector, hi.
How are you today?
What a beautiful place you have here.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And for listeners that haven't been here, they could find super clothes, beautiful shoes for women, right? Tell the listeners about your shop.
Absolutely. We've been around in Houston for 25 years. We are the only ones in town that actually design and manufacture men's clothing. We have our own line of Lucho wear, and we now have women's shoes, which every woman loves shoes.
Well, they sure do, and they are, if I say so, I've looked at individual garments and the shoes. They are masterpieces.
Thank you. They are. We take a lot of pride in what we do, and very, very, very happy with the response.
Tell the listeners how they could find your shop.
We are in Uptown Park, in the Uptown Park Shopping Center. That is at the corner of Post Oak and 610. And we're on the north part of that shopping center, and we're here every day. All of our listeners are welcome to join us this weekend. We'll be celebrating this 100th episode radio show of the Rat Pack Real Estate Show.
I know, and they love using your place for the party because it's so beautiful and you got some great things. And I know people listen outside of Houston, so a lot of people that are traveling want to also come to your shop. So I'm sure you have a lot of people from around the country and even international, right?
We do. We have clients all over the world, and literally all over the world. And they can come find, if they're not in Houston, they can find us online also at lucho.com.
And give us the address one more time.
1121 Uptown Park Boulevard in Houston, Texas.
Very nice. Hector with Lucho. I was going to say Lucho with Hector. We appreciate it, and I'm glad to be here, and I'm going to come back and shop next time.
Thank you.
Here he is.
Ashley Bowles with AB Bowles Home Inspections. Hey, I just want to tell everybody I love the show, and hey, if you're looking for a great way to sponsor a show and get your name on the radio, Real Estate Rat Pack, it's a great way to get it done.
Very nice. As Chris says, time flies when you're having fun, and this is not the end of the Rat Pack, but just the beginning. Bill Nampick signing off. Great duty serving as the host for the Rat Pack. Have a great one. We'll see you next week.
100 show!
And you've been listening to the Real Estate Rat Pack. The question is, who's Frank, who's Sammy, who's Dean, and who's the other guy?
Chris is Frank,
I'm
he's Dean, and I'm Sammy.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
So tune in to the really big show every Saturday at 9 a.m. right here on 100.7 The Word, KKHT.